Hey there guys, this is Richard, your host. Welcome back to another stunning Batman-themed video with marvelous videos. From the ruthless crime lord Carmine Falcone to the sadistic and maniacal Joker, the city of Gotham is filled with some of the most iconic and terrifying villains in all of comic book history. Throughout the 5 seasons of the Gotham series, we've seen these villains rise to power and cause chaos in the city of Gotham, often crossing paths with a young detective James Gordon as he tries to bring justice to the corrupt and crime-ridden streets of Gotham. Take a look at the cunning and manipulative Penguin to the seductive and deadly Poison Ivy. Each of these villains brings their own unique brand of evil to the table. Some are motivated by a desire for power or wealth, while others are simply driven by a thirst for blood and destruction. Today, we'll be taking a closer look at each of these villains, exploring their origins, motivations, and most memorable moments from the show. We'll also examine the ways in which they've been adapted from their comic book counterparts and how they fit into the larger narrative of the Gotham series. So sit back, relax, and get ready to dive deep into the twisted world of the Gotham villains. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Victor Zsasz. Victor Zsasz is a fictional supervillain in the Gotham series who makes an appearance as an antagonist. He's a sadistic serial killer who marks his victims with tally marks carved into his own skin for every life he's taken. That sounds a lot like Eric Killmonger from Marvel Cinematic Universe's 2018 Black Panther movie. Victor Zsasz's twisted philosophy that murder is a necessary part of life makes him a dangerous foe. Anthony Carrigan's portrayal of Zsasz is both terrifying and captivating, which makes him one of the standout villains in the series. Throughout the show, Victor Zsasz works for various criminal organizations in Gotham City, including Carmine Falcone, the criminal overlord of Gotham City, and Oswald Cobblepot, who's also known as the Penguin. He's often depicted as a loyal and effective henchman, willing to carry out any task assigned to him without question. The boss of an elite group of female assassins, Victor Zsasz is an enforcer feared across Gotham City. The intimidating antagonist is highly proficient in scare tactics. Victor Zsasz is an expert marksman who uses firearms as his primary weapon. He's achieved the peak of human strength, stamina, and agility through his rigorous training. The skilled hand-to-hand combat specialist is seen in the show demonstrating his superior acrobatic ability to get out of tricky situations. Jerome Valeska. Known by many aliases such as the Great Rodolfo, the Prophet, and Inmate E-116, Jerome Valeska was the twin brother of Jeremiah Valeska, the leader of the Maniacs. Jerome Valeska is portrayed as a young man with a sadistic and unpredictable personality who becomes an early version of the Joker. Throughout the series, Jerome Valeska is depicted as a charismatic and manipulative figure who takes pleasure in causing chaos and destruction. He's highly intelligent and resourceful, able to outsmart even the most seasoned detectives and villains. Jerome is highly skilled in hand-to-hand combat and is an expert in the use of knives and other bladed weapons. But he's also skilled in using firearms. He's also known to be highly skilled in improvisation, using everyday objects as weapons when necessary. Jerome Valeska is a complex and fascinating character who adds an element of danger and unpredictability to the world of Gotham. Cameron Monaghan's portrayal of Jerome Valeska as an early version of the Joker has made the character a fan favorite and a memorable addition to the Batman universe.
Oh, Ed. So smart.
Oswald Cobblepot, aka the Penguin. One of the most iconic villains in the Gotham series is portrayed by actor Robin Lord Taylor, who plays the role of Oswald Cobblepot, whom we also know as the Penguin. Oswald Cobblepot is a cunning and manipulative villain who rises to power in the criminal underworld of Gotham City. Oswald Cobblepot is initially introduced as a low-level criminal and umbrella boy for a mobster who gave him his iconic limp, but he quickly proves to be much more than that. Throughout the series, Cobblepot's character develops and evolves as he becomes increasingly ruthless and power-hungry. He forms alliances, betrays friends, and engages in violent acts to maintain his grip on the criminal underworld. Oswald Cobblepot, the Penguin, possesses a variety of skills and abilities that make him a formidable opponent in the criminal underworld of Gotham City. He's highly intelligent and strategic, able to outthink his opponents and devise complex schemes to achieve his goals. He's also a master of manipulation, able to read people and use their weaknesses against them. Oswald Cobblepot is a skilled fighter and has demonstrated proficiency in hand-to-hand combat. He's also an expert in using firearms and other weapons. He's a master in the methods of torture and is shown to be proficient in cooking and playing the piano, too.
I got confidence.
Confident, flamboyant, charisma for days.
Come out
Enigma, the Riddler. Well, now it's time to look at one of the most enigmatic characters in the show. The Riddler, also known as Edward Nygma, is an intriguing character in the Gotham series that leaves the audience bewildered, portrayed by actor Corey Michael Smith. He's a brilliant and manipulative villain who delights in challenging his opponents with puzzles and riddles. Edward Nygma starts off as a forensic scientist working for the Gotham City Police Department, but his obsession with riddles and puzzles eventually drives him to become a criminal mastermind. He's highly intelligent and strategic, able to outthink his opponents and devise elaborate schemes to achieve his goals. Throughout the series, Edward Nygma's character undergoes a significant transformation as he becomes more and more unhinged. He develops a split personality, with his alter ego, the Riddler, which takes over his mind and body and drives him to commit increasingly violent and disturbing acts. The Riddler, also known as Edward Nygma, was a major antagonist throughout the 5 seasons of the show. He has a genius-level intelligence, and he's cunning and has the ability to solve complex puzzles and riddles. He possesses an incredible memory and is able to retain vast amounts of information, making him a formidable opponent in any intellectual challenge. He's also a master of manipulation, but is initially shown to be socially awkward and shy.
I won't do it again.
Scarecrow. This city of madmen has room for even more villains. One such villain is the Scarecrow. Portrayed by Charlie Tahan and David W. Thompson, Scarecrow was an accomplice to his father Gerald Crane's crimes and experiments. His father developed a toxin for fear, which was used on his son Jonathan Crane, who's also known as the Scarecrow. The fear toxin strained his sanity as he was tormented by a nightmarish Scarecrow. The fear of the Scarecrow that was hounding him finally broke his sanity, and Jonathan Crane embraced his new identity as Scarecrow. The identity of Jonathan Crane was abandoned when the Scarecrow started his journey. This kind of brought the feelings of people that you become what you fear, and he went nuts all over Gotham City. The Scarecrow appears in the show as an insane and psychotic henchman for the Valeska twins and Oswald Cobblepot. A chemist who's extremely skilled, Jonathan Crane was able to use his knowledge of his father's experiments to create the fear toxin, and even modify it according to his needs. The highly intelligent Scarecrow was an intimidating figure with his Scarecrow suit, and the use of his fear toxin gas made people afraid of him across the city of Gotham. Jonathan Crane was a skilled hand-to-hand combat specialist who had strength that was above a normal human being.
You simply cannot run from your sins. And you cannot run from me.
Bane. Bane is a formidable, imposing villain in the Gotham series, portrayed by actor Shane West. He's a physically intimidating character who possesses immense strength and fighting skills. In the show, Bane is introduced as Eduardo Dorrance, a former army buddy of Jim Gordon. However, he's later revealed to be working with the villainous organization, the League of Shadows, and undergoes a transformation into the villainous Bane. His transformation from a seemingly well-meaning ally of Jim Gordon to a ruthless and determined villain in the show leaves the audience in wonder. Bane's character is ruthless and determined, with a singular focus on his targets. He's highly skilled in hand-to-hand combat and is able to take down multiple opponents with ease. He's also a strategic tactician who's able to outmaneuver his opponents. Bane is blessed with enhanced strength and stamina, which also makes him extra durable. One of the most memorable aspects of Bane's character is his iconic mask, which provides him with enhanced strength and allows him to breathe in toxic environments. Eduardo Dorrance, also known as Bane, is a villain that adds a layer of physical intimidation to the show with his immense strength and fighting skills. Victor Freeze, aka Mr. Freeze. Portrayed by actor Nathan Darrow, Victor Freeze is a brilliant cryogenicist who becomes a criminal mastermind after a failed attempt at suicide after his wife's death, which leaves him unable to survive at normal temperatures due to his cellular structure changing. He's driven by the love he has for his wife, Nora, and his desire to cure her terminal illness. This motivates him to pursue cryogenics as a means of finding a cure, but his obsession ultimately leads to the transformation into Mr. Freeze. Victor Freeze's suit allows him to survive at sub-zero temperatures. It provides him with enhanced strength and durability, which makes him a formidable opponent for the heroes of the show. However, the suit also serves as a reminder of his tragic transformation and the loss of his humanity. Despite his villainous tendencies, Victor Freeze is also a sympathetic character in the Gotham series, but we shall still think of him as a strong opponent because he's created unimaginable chaos in the city of Gotham.
I am Firefly.
Firefly, also known as Bridget Pike, is a dangerous and unpredictable villain in the Gotham series. Her character is played by actress Michelle Ventimiglia initially and later by Camilla Perez. She's a pyromaniac who uses her expertise in fire to commit crimes and wreak havoc in the city. In the show, Bridget Pike is introduced as a member of a family of arsonists who are forced to work for a criminal organization. However, she eventually takes on the identity of Firefly and becomes a villain in her own right after abandoning her brothers because of their abuse. Her philosophy of killing people who are sinners reminds us of a lot of the anti-heroes, such as the Punisher from Marvel Comics. Firefly's character is highly unpredictable, with a tendency to act on impulse and without regard for the consequences. She's highly skilled in the use of fire as a weapon, using flamethrowers and other devices to create chaos and destruction. A memorable and intense character in the Gotham series, Firefly brings a sense of danger and unpredictability to the show. Her expertise in fire and pyrotechnics make her a formidable opponent for the heroes of the show, and her tendency to act impulsively adds to her unpredictability. Ivy Pepper. Poison Ivy, also known as Ivy Pepper, is a character in the Gotham series portrayed by several actresses throughout the show's run. She is a plant lover who undergoes a transformation into a powerful and deadly villain. Ivy's character development in the Gotham series is particularly interesting as she grows from a young girl to a ruthless and powerful villain. Her connection to plants adds a unique and compelling aspect to her character, and her ability to control them makes her a formidable opponent for the heroes of the show. In the show, Ivy is initially introduced as a young girl who's orphaned after her father's death. She has a deep connection to plants, and after a run-in with the villainous mobsters, she undergoes a transformation that ages her and gives her the ability to control plants and use them as weapons. Ivy Pepper, who's no longer the sweet young girl, possesses a vast botanical knowledge that allows her to control plant life and use it as a weapon. She's also a skilled hypnotist, able to manipulate the minds of those around her to do her bidding. One of Ivy's most dangerous abilities is her toxic scratch, which can incapacitate her opponents and leave them vulnerable to her attacks. In addition, she has a fondness for poisonous crimson flowers, which she uses to create deadly concoctions and potions. Ivy's control of plant life is a defining aspect of her character. She's able to manipulate plants to do her bidding, using them to ensnare her opponents or to create barriers to protect her from harm.
A very good job.
Basil, aka Clayface. Basil Karlo, also known as Clayface, is a supporting antagonist in the Gotham series. He's a monster created by Hugo Strange, with the ability to shapeshift his body into any person he can think of. He's a minor villain in seasons 2 and 3 and is only mentioned in season 5. One of Basil Karlo's strengths is his ability to impersonate others, making him a skilled manipulator and a dangerous opponent. He sells his services to the highest bidder, as seen when Barbara Kean's criminal group hires him to haunt Oswald Cobblepot with the face of his dead father. Basil Karlo's character was only briefly shown in the Gotham show, but his ability to shapeshift and impersonate others brought an element of intrigue to the show. The feeling that Clayface could impersonate anyone and easily wreak havoc in the city of Gotham kept the audience on the edge of their seats. He's portrayed by Brian McManaman, as well as Ben McKenzie and Paul Rubens in different forms.
What's your name? Ethel Peabody?
Fish Mooney. Fish Mooney is a complex figure with ruthless ambition and cunning intelligence that sets her apart from other characters in the show. Fish's rise to power in the criminal underworld of Gotham is a representation of her skills and ambition. She's a skilled strategist who's able to outmaneuver her opponents and rise to the top of the hierarchy. Her ambition is unwavering and she's willing to do whatever it takes to achieve her goals. Fish's character development in the later seasons of the show is particularly intriguing as she undergoes a transformation at the hands of Hugo Strange that grants her superhuman abilities. As a result of her resurrection, Fish develops a new ability to order someone to do something against their will with a touch of her hand. This ability is a result of the experiments performed on her by Hugo Strange and gives her an even greater level of control over those around her. Throughout the series, Fish uses her newfound power to manipulate and control those around her, using it to further her own interests and gain an advantage in her ongoing battles with other criminal organizations in Gotham City. Theo Galavan, Azrael. Theo Galavan and his sister Tabitha were brought up by the Order of St. Dumas, their family order, with the belief that they had to take revenge on the city of Gotham, and especially on the Wayne family, for driving their family out of the city centuries ago. Theo arrives in Gotham City and quickly rises to become the city's mayor through manipulation, deception, and blackmail. He uses the Maniacs, a criminal group, to gain the city's trust and admiration by killing the group's leader, Jerome Valeska. He also forces Oswald Cobblepot, also known as the Penguin, to eliminate his political rivals by capturing his mother. His body is experimented on and eventually reanimated by the scientist Hugo Strange. Under Strange's influence, Theo's mind becomes fragmented and confused, and he's given a new persona as Azrael, a knight of the Sacred Order of the Saint of Dumas. As Azrael, Theo is extremely dangerous and is convinced that his mission is to enforce God's will. During his mission, parts of Theo's original persona resurface, and he sets out to fulfill his original mission of killing Bruce Wayne. He ultimately faces off against Bruce, Alfred, Gordon, Penguin, and Butch in a showdown at Wayne Manor, and is killed when his body is completely destroyed, making further reanimation impossible. Azrael, also known as Theo Galavan, possesses enhanced physiology that makes him a formidable opponent. He possesses enhanced strength, speed, healing, and durability, making him a nearly unstoppable force. In addition to his enhanced physical abilities, Azrael also possesses exceptional intelligence. He's highly skilled in business management and is able to manipulate the financial and political systems of Gotham to his advantage. He's also knowledgeable in religious matters, particularly the extremist beliefs of the Order of St. Dumas.
$500 million.
Richard Sionis, aka Black Mask. Richard Sionis, also known as the Mask, is a ruthless and sadistic villain in the Gotham series. He's known for his love of combat and bloodshed, and his business empire is built on violence and intimidation as he forced potential employees to fight often to death in illegal fights. Looks like someone has been watching too much Fight Club. Richard Sionis romanticizes combat and bloodshed, arguing that it takes a similar killer instinct to achieve success in business. Richard Sionis' character in the Gotham series is limited, but his sadistic tendencies and involvement in illegal fights make him an interesting foe. His defeat and incarceration in Arkham Asylum for over 20 murders showcase the dangerous and violent nature of the city's criminal underworld. Arthur Penn, aka Scarface, a mild-mannered accountant portrayed by actor Andrew Sellon, who becomes embroiled in the criminal underworld of Gotham City, becoming a dangerous and manipulative villain. The mob accountant to Penguin, Arthur Penn is initially portrayed as a harmless and unassuming figure. However, his involvement with the criminal underworld leads him down a dark path of obsession and madness. He adopts the persona of the ventriloquist, a villain who takes orders from a ventriloquist dummy named Scarface to carry out his criminal activities. Arthur Penn's character arc in the Gotham series is one filled with twists and turns. After the city is isolated in a no-man's land, Arthur Penn stays in Gotham, managing the Penguin's organization. As the situation in the city deteriorates, Arthur Penn becomes increasingly isolated and desperate. He's shot by a gang leader and seemingly dies, only to wake up with a split personality that's controlled by the Scarface puppet. Penn becomes increasingly dangerous and manipulative, intent on ruling Gotham's underworld. In a dramatic showdown, Penguin and Enigma try to save Penn from the influence of Scarface. However, the split personality proves to be too strong, leading to a struggle for the gun that ultimately results in Penn's death. He's a master tactician, skilled accountant, expert marksman, and ventriloquist. Penn's character is defined by his split personality, with Scarface representing his darker and more violent side. This duality adds depth and nuance to his character, making him a formidable foe. Solomon Grundy. Solomon Grundy is a recurring villain in the Gotham series and is portrayed as a powerful and nearly unstoppable force. He's portrayed by actor Drew Powell and is based on the DC Comics character. In the show, Solomon Grundy is the result of an experiment by Hugo Strange in which the body of Butch Gilzane, a former ally of Oswald Cobblepot, is reanimated and transformed into a monstrous and powerful creature. He was Fish Mooney's second in command when they were a part of the Falcone crime family before he was brainwashed to become a henchman for Oswald Cobblepot, also known as the Penguin. However, he's later brainwashed again by the Galavan siblings to betray Penguin. After his betrayal, Solomon Grundy becomes a crime lord and forms an alliance with Tabitha after her brother's death. Solomon constantly switches alliances and allegiances throughout the show. He partners up with the Penguin once again after they team up to kill a reanimated Theo Galavan, who stabbed and put Tabitha into a coma. Professor Pig. It's time to take a look at one of the animal-themed villains of Batman. Professor Pig, who's also known as Laszlo Valentin, is a terrifying villain in the Gotham series, known for his grotesque appearance and sadistic tendencies. He's portrayed by Michael Severus and is based on the DC Comics character. In the show, Professor Pig is an insane serial killer who targets corrupt officers inside the GCPD and dresses their corpses up in pig masks. He initially comes across Detective Jim Gordon, the sole policeman in Gotham who's not corrupt, and shares his vision of creating a corruption-free Gotham. However, Professor Pig eventually realizes that Gordon will not stop hunting him down and goes to great lengths to make sure Jim Gordon is not harmed during his attacks. Professor Pig kills a great deal of policemen in Gotham and remains at large. However, during an attempt on several members of Gotham's corrupt elite, he's eventually defeated by Jim Gordon and arrested. However, Professor Pig later escapes from Arkham Asylum and becomes involved in a conspiracy with Sofia Falcone to kill her father, Don Falcone, before being betrayed and executed by her.
If it doesn't kill you.
Zsasz al Ghul. Zsasz al Ghul is a prominent villain in the Gotham series, known for his formidable intellect, combat skills, and his connection to the League of Assassins. He's portrayed by Alexander Siddig and is based on the same character of DC Comics. Zsasz al Ghul is introduced as a mysterious and powerful figure with a long history of manipulating and controlling those around him. He's initially a mentor to Bruce Wayne, encouraging him to embrace his destiny as a vigilante and offering him guidance and training in the ways of the League of Assassins. However, Zsasz al Ghul's true intentions are gradually revealed as he seeks to use Bruce as his heir in his quest for power and control. He's shown to be a ruthless and cunning villain, willing to do whatever it takes to achieve his goals. Zsasz al Ghul's connection to the Lazarus Pit, a mystical pool that can grant immortality and heal even the most fatal wounds, is what led him to live a lifespan longer than most humans. He's known to have used the pit to prolong his life for centuries, and his obsession with cleansing the world drives him forward. He's also the father of Nyssa al Ghul.
You're insane!
The Mad Hatter. Don't worry, the Mad Hatter from Alice in Wonderland has not escaped from his absurd Wonderland to the city of Gotham. However, he would fit right in if he ever came to this city filled with the criminally insane. This Mad Hatter, who's also known as Jervis Tetch, is a formidable villain in the Gotham series. He makes an immediate enemy of James Gordon, the protagonist of the show, when he kidnaps his former and current girlfriends and forces him to choose which one gets to live. Tetch's character in the Gotham series is intriguing, with his obsession with mind control and manipulation driving much of his villainous behavior. He synthesizes a virus from his beloved sister Alice's blood, who died by his hand, that unleashes people's hidden desires, wreaking havoc on Gotham by transforming ordinary people into killers and thieves. In the second half of Season 4, Jervis Tetch helps Jerome Valeska hold the city hostage with a blimp full of poison gas. However, Cobblepot turns on them and helps Gordon defeat Jerome and his minions, leading to Jervis Tetch's eventual capture and imprisonment in Arkham Asylum. The Mad Hatter is an expert tactician, creating elaborate revenge plans against his enemies, such as the plan to abduct his sister from the GCPD with the help of the terrible Tweeds. He also uses his hypnotic powers to distract and manipulate Jim Gordon, one of the show's main protagonists. Jervis Tetch's main attribute is his ability to hypnotize anyone without difficulty, using a stopwatch and the power of suggestion. His power of hypnotism is capable of getting others to do his bidding by having them hear his voice. Not even people with high willpower like Jim can resist this. Furthermore, Jervis Tetch has the ability to control the minds of those he's hypnotized. He can make them do anything, including killing others, while they're under his mental control. But on the flip side, he can only mind control those who can hear him. Copperhead. In the Gotham series, Larissa Diaz, also known as Copperhead, is introduced as an assassin sent to kill both Selina Kyle and Dick Lovecraft. She's the main antagonist of the episode Lovecraft, and her motivations are initially unclear. It's later revealed that Copperhead was sent to kill Selina Kyle and Dick Lovecraft by parties unknown due to both of them having knowledge related to who killed Thomas and Martha Wayne. However, she only manages to kill Lovecraft, while Selina Kyle is able to escape with the help of Jim Gordon. Copperhead's appearance in the Gotham series was only in this episode, but her skills as an assassin and her connection to the Wayne murders make her an intriguing character. As a highly skilled assassin, she's in top physical shape, with exceptional strength and agility that allow her to take on even the most formidable opponents. Copperhead is also a master hand-to-hand combatant, with her grappling moves and chokeholds allowing her to subdue her opponents quickly. She's highly skilled in unarmed combat, being able to easily take out a large man and disarm James Gordon before quickly defeating him. In addition to her physical abilities, Copperhead is also an expert markswoman, highly trained in the use of firearms. This makes her a dangerous opponent from afar, as well as in close combat. Scale-Skin Man. The Scale-Skin Man, a recurring villain in the Gotham series, is known for his reptilian appearance on the show with scaly skin and sharp teeth. The design and makeup for the Scale-Skin Man were created by artist Michael Maddy, who used the hashtag KillerCroc to refer to the character on his Instagram account. He's initially introduced as a prisoner in Indian Hill, a secret facility experimenting on humans with superhuman abilities. When Selina Kyle sneaks into Indian Hill, she comes across 4 guards escorting the Scale-Skin Man out of his cell. The Scale-Skin Man spots Selina and promptly attempts to go after her, but the guards electrocute him and make him follow them. The Scale-Skin Man later escapes from Indian Hill with the other experiments, wandering the streets of Gotham City. He later joins forces with Fish Mooney as part of the latest incarnation of her gang and participates in a fight against the Gotham City Police Department.
Get off
Hugo Strange. Not to be confused with the Doctor Strange from Marvel Comics, Hugo Strange is a recurring villain in the Gotham series, known for his genius-level intellect, expertise in psychology, and masterful tactics. He was the chief of psychiatry at Arkham Asylum and also conducted experimentation on people in the underground research facility Indian Hill. One of Hugo Strange's achievements is his ability to reanimate the dead. During one of his experiments, he realized that the reanimated humans required a new identity in order to successfully reanimate. So Hugo Strange experiments on Theo Galavan and turns him into Azrael. Using this breakthrough in his research, Hugo Strange revived many more of the villains that were delivered to his lab, including Mr. Freeze, Firefly, and Clayface. His experiments also led to the resurrection of Fish Mooney and various other subjects. However, Strange's experiments have a darker side, as he's responsible for the creation of monstrous creatures and giving several of his subjects special abilities. Strange's plans are eventually foiled by the show's protagonists. The GCPD discovers his experiments and plans to blow up Indian Hill and Arkham with a bomb, which is defused in time by James Gordon and Lucius Fox. Hugo Strange is then arrested by the GCPD. However, Strange's story doesn't end there. In order to get his findings and research on animated beings, Hugo Strange is brought to a secret facility. This gives mobster Fish Mooney the chance to find him, and Strange is eventually delivered to the Court of Owls, where he's employed by them to eradicate evil in Gotham City. Hugo Strange is shown to be playing both sides, ensuring that he'll come out on top no matter who wins. His genius-level intellect, expertise in psychology, and masterful tactics are what make him a formidable opponent. Mutant Leader, the unnamed leader of the mutants gang that were present in the city's seedy underbelly. Mutant Leader took over the gang from Terrence Shaw. He's shown to be a physically imposing figure, with exceptional strength and agility that allow him to take on even the most formidable opponents. Bruce Wayne and Selina Kyle have an encounter with the mutants in the Dark Zone when they're conducting a search for the mysterious Jay. All attempts at talking to the mutants were turned down as they wanted a fight with the two. The fight ended with the mutant leader spilling everything about Jay and his location to Bruce Wayne and Selina Kyle. This showcases the mutant leader's loyalty to the gang and his willingness to protect their secrets at all costs. Later in the series, Ivy Pepper controls the mutant leader in order to make him attack Selina Kyle and kill her. Carmine Falcone, the villain known for his leadership of the Falcone crime family and his control over the criminal underworld of Gotham City. Carmine Falcone is based on the DC Comics character of the same name. Carmine Falcone is introduced as a powerful and influential figure in Gotham's criminal underworld and is shown to be a shrewd and calculating leader with a reputation for being both respected and feared by his peers. Carmine Falcone was the most authoritative, influential, and powerful villain in the Gotham series. The city's criminal underworld was ruled by him with an old-fashioned code of respect, integrity, and honor. Shout out to the Godfather. He dominated the city's criminal underworld for several years until younger men, primarily Salvatore Maroni, challenged his reign of absolute power. Furthermore, traitors in Falcone's organization, such as Oswald Cobblepot and Fish Mooney, were also gunning for his position. Despite the mounting threats to his power, Falcone manages to survive the power struggle, which Penguin eventually wins. However, Falcone recognizes the limitations of his influence and decided to retire from his criminal life for good. Although initially seeking revenge after Jim Gordon kills his son Mario, Falcone eventually calls off the feud and leaves the city for Miami as he was diagnosed with a deadly sickness. Tweedledum and Tweedledee. The Terrible Tweeds are a group of criminals consisting of 5 brothers in the Gotham series. They're known for their criminal activities and their association with the hypnotist villain Jervis Tetch. In one of their appearances in the show, Jervis Tetch, also known as Mad Hatter, enters their base of operations and hypnotizes the brothers. With the Tweeds under his control, Tetch launches an attack on the GCPD to rescue his sister, Alice. However, their plan is met with resistance, and 3 of the Tweed brothers are taken down. Diva and Dumfrey Tweed are the only brothers left to flee the police precinct with Tetch and Alice. They head to Tetch's headquarters, where they're interrupted by the arrival of James Gordon and Harvey Bullock. A firefight ensues between the Tweeds and the policeman, and Tetch attempts to escape with his sister. However, Alice chooses to commit suicide rather than be with her vile brother. After Alice's death, the Tweeds remain under Tetch's hypnosis until they're arrested and incarcerated at Arkham Asylum.
You're right.
Electrocutioner. Jack Baczynski, who's also known as the Electrocutioner in the Gotham series, is a minor antagonist known for his love of electricity and his criminal activities. He's a murderer and bank robber who eventually turns to experimenting on inmates at Arkham Asylum. In the show, Baczynski is initially a part of a group of criminals who were betrayed by their leader, Don Salvatore Maroni. Seeking revenge, Baczynski becomes the Electrocutioner, using his love of electricity to commit crimes and wreak havoc in Gotham City. After his arrest, Baczynski gets himself transferred to Arkham Asylum under a false identity. There, he turns his attention to experimenting on the inmates and succeeds with creating henchmen, although his failed experiments were left brain dead.
So, you've completed your task.
Dollmaker. Dr. Francis Dollmaker, the immoral doctor known as the Dollmaker, is a major antagonist in the first season of Gotham, portrayed by Colm Fiore, a respected doctor who made his fortune by running a private hospital on his island, using it as a front for his sinister criminal activities. The Dollmaker's character is notable for his depraved and sadistic nature. He engages in kidnapping people, harvesting their organs, and conducting experiments on them. By using his wealth and power, he evades justice and continues his heinous crimes. Throughout the season, the protagonists of the show, including Jim Gordon and Harvey Bullock, are determined to bring the Dollmaker to justice. Their efforts are complicated by his cunning ability to manipulate and deceive those around him.
Welcome to the Court of Owls.
Court of Owls. The Court of Owls is the main antagonist faction in the TV series Gotham. They're a mysterious organization that function as the true rulers of Gotham City, controlling the city's politics and criminal underworld from behind the scenes. Their goal is to maintain their power and control over the city at all costs. The origins of the Court of Owls are shrouded in mystery, but they're known to be a powerful and influential organization that has been operating in Gotham for centuries. They're made up of some of the city's most powerful and wealthy people who use their influence to further the court's agenda. Their influence is felt throughout the show as they manipulate and deceive those around them to maintain their power and control. The Court of Owls employs Hugo Strange to find a way to reanimate the dead, showcasing the depths of their power and the lengths to which they'll go to achieve their goals. The Court of Owls serves as the force behind Strange, using him to further the court's agenda and cement its control over Gotham City.
Oh, baby.
Flamingo. Eduardo Flamingo is a ruthless assassin and cannibal who eats the faces of his victims in the Gotham series. He's hired by the Lady to carry out a hit on Detective James Gordon on behalf of Tabitha Galavan. Flamingo arrives at Theo Galavan's base of operations and warns Detective Gordon that he's coming after him and will find him no matter where he runs. However, Gordon decided to confront Flamingo and the two engage in a brutal and violent face-off. Flamingo attacks Gordon with a chain, but Gordon manages to overpower him and has him taken into custody. During his arrest, Flamingo bites into the throat of a rookie cop known as Officer Park, which causes her death. Even as several Gotham City Police Department officers brutally beat him with billy clubs to try and force him off of Parks, Flamingo continues his attack on her, showing his sadistic and violent nature. Eduardo Flamingo might not have a connection to the One Piece villain Don Flamingo, but he sure does share his cruelty and sadistic nature. Barbara Kean. Barbara Kean is a complex and dynamic character in the Gotham series with a storyline that spans multiple seasons. Barbara Kean is a mentally unstable villain and has lost her grip on sanity after being tortured and brainwashed by the dangerous serial killer known as the Ogre. She's sent to Arkham Asylum but is later busted out by Theo Galavan, who plans to recruit her as a member of the Maniacs, his supervillain group that was created to boost his public image. Throughout the series, Barbara develops into a formidable antagonist with high ambitions of taking over the Gotham criminal underworld. She becomes a nemesis for Oswald Cobblepot and teams up with Edward Nygma, Tabitha Galavan, and Butch Gilzane to destroy him. She eventually becomes the queen of the city's underworld and becomes the leader of her own crime family, with Butch and Tabitha as lieutenants. Barbara was instrumental in recreating the Sirens under Oswald's leadership, but later plots to betray him and kill him. She even becomes Sofia Falcone's right-hand woman, showcasing her skills as a powerful mercenary and criminal in Gotham. Catwoman. Selina Kyle, whose alias is Catwoman, is a thief that thrives on the streets of Gotham City using her burglary skills. She's well known around the city for her connections in the criminal underworld and her abilities as a pickpocket and thief. A witness of the murder of Thomas and Martha Wayne, the incident increases her interest in Bruce Wayne and leads to a complicated relationship between the two. After she nearly died, Selina Kyle becomes partners in crime with Barbara Kean and Tabitha Galavan, known as the Sirens. She undergoes a dilemma with choosing between her loyalty to the partner she had and her budding affection for the young Wayne, but she often prioritized her own survival above all else. Catwoman earns the moniker of Killer of Jerome Valeska after she stabbed him multiple times. This was part of her revenge against Jerome Valeska, who had wounded her and left her for dead. The injury caused her spinal damage and had to be healed by Ivy Pepper, a friend from the old days.
Everything I have done here is about punishing Gotham.
For the sins
Nyssa al Ghul. Nyssa al Ghul, also known as Teresa Walker, is a major antagonist in the 5th and final season of the Gotham series. She's a rogue government agent who brainwashes Edward Nygma into massacring the Haven and sends Eduardo Dorrance to carry out her own mysterious agenda for the city. As the season progresses, it's revealed that Nyssa is actually the daughter of the infamous Zsasz al Ghul, and she seeks vengeance for her father's murder against Bruce Wayne and Barbara Kean. Her agenda is shrouded in mystery, but she's shown to be a formidable adversary with a deeply personal vendetta. Nyssa is portrayed as a highly skilled and dangerous individual with a wide range of abilities that make her a formidable adversary. She's a master manipulator and is able to deceive and control those around her to achieve her goals. She's also a skilled marksman, able to shoot accurately and take out targets from long distances. In addition to her mental abilities, Nyssa is also in peak physical condition, with impressive martial arts skills and physical strength. She's able to hold her own in hand-to-hand combat, and she's not afraid to use violence to achieve her goals. Tabitha Galavan. Tabitha Galavan is a major villain in the show. She's introduced as the sister and top enforcer of Theo Galavan, killing anyone who interferes with her brother's plans. After Theo's death, Tabitha allies herself with Butch Gilzane, who becomes the new ruler of the Gotham underworld after Oswald Cobblepot's empire crumbles. Tabitha and Butch fall in love and work together to take control of the criminal underworld. Their plans are derailed when Edward Nygma mistakenly believes that Butch is responsible for the murder of his girlfriend. Later on, Butch is killed by Oswald in revenge for the death of his mother at Tabitha's hand. Seeking revenge for Butch's death, Tabitha tries to kill Oswald but fails and is killed by him. Throughout the series, Tabitha is portrayed as a skilled and ruthless fighter with impressive martial arts skills and physical strength. She's also known to be a skilled manipulator, able to use her charm and skills to achieve her goals. Ogre. Jason Skolimsky, better known as the Ogre or the Don Juan Killer, is an antagonist in the Gotham TV series. He appears as the final antagonist of Season 1. The Ogre is one of the most dangerous serial killers in Gotham City, responsible for the deaths of dozens of women. He's a brutal and charismatic man who's able to get away with his crimes by threatening to murder the family of any cop who tries to investigate him. The Ogre is depicted as a highly skilled and intelligent killer and is able to manipulate his victims and evade the police with ease. He's also shown to have a deep psychological need to dominate and control his victims, often forcing them to play out twisted fantasies before killing them. Sal Maroni. Salvatore Maroni is a major antagonist in Season 1 of the Gotham TV series. He's the boss of the Maroni crime family, which is one of the most powerful criminal organizations in Gotham City. Maroni was gunning for Carmine Falcone, the leader of the Falcone crime family who ruled the criminal world of Gotham City. This clash was used as an opportunity by Carmine Falcone's henchmen, Fish Mooney and Oswald Cobblepot, who seek to use the conflict to their advantage. The tension between the two families eventually erupts into a full-blown gang war, with Sal Maroni working closely with Fish Mooney to capture Carmine Falcone, the Penguin, and Jim Gordon. However, Fish Mooney shot Sal Maroni in the face, killing him and seizing control of the Maroni family for herself. Throughout the series, Maroni is depicted as a ruthless and cunning criminal, willing to do whatever it takes to gain power and eliminate his enemies. He's shown to be a skilled manipulator, able to play both sides of the criminal underworld to his advantage. Sofia Falcone. Sofia Falcone is a villain that initially appears as an ally to Jim Gordon in his fight against Oswald Cobblepot. However, she's eventually revealed to be just as evil and manipulative as Cobblepot himself. Sofia initially gains Oswald's trust, only to manipulate him for her own gain. When Oswald discovers her true intentions, Sofia uses her criminal expertise to have him arrested. She also kills her own father to emerge as the queen of Gotham City's underworld, with her rule unchallenged. Despite her power and influence, Sofia ultimately meets her demise when she's shot in the head by Leslie Tompkins. She's left comatose rather than dead, leaving her ultimate fate uncertain. Throughout the series, Sofia is portrayed as a cunning and ruthless criminal with a deep desire for power and control. Jerome Valeska. The identical twin brother of Jerome Valeska, Jerome Valeska was a successful structural engineer who hid his dark and disturbing nature from the public. After Jerome's death, Jerome Valeska becomes his successor and takes over his cult, using it to cause chaos and anarchy throughout Gotham City. Unlike his brother, Jeremiah is a more collected and intelligent anarchist, using his intellect to plan and execute his attacks. Jeremiah is shown to have a personal vendetta against Bruce Wayne and Jim Gordon, seeking to kill them both after failing to create a bond with Bruce. This makes him Bruce's arch-nemesis, and the two engage in a series of intense battles throughout the series. Throughout the show, Jeremiah is portrayed as a twisted and disturbed individual with a deep-seated desire to cause destruction and chaos. His intelligence and strategic planning make him a formidable opponent, highlighting the danger of those who are both intelligent and unhinged.
Bye-bye.
Magpie. Magpie is a minor antagonist in this television series. She is a jewel thief who is known for her obsession with shiny objects and her tendency to steal from wealthy individuals in Gotham City. Magpie is portrayed as a skilled and cunning thief, able to evade the police and steal valuable items with ease. However, her actions eventually catch up with her when she steals from Oswald Cobblepot, who is known as the Penguin in the criminal underworld. After discovering that Magpie is stolen from him, Oswald tracks her down with the help of Selina Kyle and murders her, taking back his stolen property in the process.
But you are not innocent.
Captain Barnes, aka Executioner. Nathaniel Barnes, also known as the Executioner, is a major character in the Gotham TV series. He appears as a major antagonist in Season 2, a major protagonist turned antagonist in Season 3, and a mentioned antagonist in Season 4. In Season 2, Barnes replaces Sarah Essen as the commanding officer of the Gotham City Police Department after she was killed by the Maniac's leader, Jerome Valeska. Barnes is portrayed as a tough but fair police officer who's determined to rid Gotham of its crime and corruption. In Season 3, Barnes becomes infected with the blood of Alice Tetch, which causes him to become increasingly insane and violent. He becomes obsessed with punishing criminals, seeing himself as a judge, jury, and executioner. Upon realizing how good it felt to punish criminals, Barnes decides to become a serial killer himself in order to rid Gotham of its evil. As Barnes becomes more and more consumed by his obsession with punishing criminals, he becomes increasingly violent and unpredictable. He even goes so far as to attack and torture suspects, believing that their confessions justify his actions. Mario Falcone. Mario Calvi is the eldest son of Carmine Falcone and the brother of Sofia Falcone. Originally a supporting character, Mario Calvi is a doctor at Gotham General Hospital who becomes the fiancé of Leslie Tompkins after she breaks up with James Gordon. Although Calvi and Gordon initially have a friendly relationship, Calvi is injected with the Tetch virus by Jervis Tetch while trying to rescue Gordon from a hallucinogen. He keeps his infection a secret but grows jealous of Tompkins' continued love for Gordon. Mario Calvi eventually becomes unstable and orchestrates events to make it look like Gordon is sabotaging his and Tompkins' wedding. He becomes increasingly obsessed with Tompkins and attempts to kill her, but is ultimately killed by Gordon in self-defense.
Suck it, coppers!
The Red Hood Gang. The Red Hood Gang is a criminal organization in the series. There are two versions of the gang, with the first debuting in the Season 1 episode, Red Hood, which serves as their origin story. The original Red Hood Gang is a group of robbers who wear red hooded masks to conceal their identities. They become infamous in Gotham City for their daring heists and skilled robberies. Following their downfall, the legacy of the Red Hood Gang continues on, with Butch Gilzane modeling a new gang after them in the Season 3 episode, Anything for You. This new gang also wears red hooded masks and engages in criminal activities throughout the city. Their use of masks and anonymity highlights the difficulty that law enforcement officials face in trying to combat crime in the city.
Oh, Puddin', aren't you delicious?
Ecco. Ecco was the assistant and henchman of Jeremiah Valeska. She's portrayed as a highly devoted follower of Jeremiah, even after his descent into insanity. Throughout the series, Ecco assists Jeremiah in his plans to destroy Gotham City and rebuild it in his image. She helps him form the Church of Jeremiah Valeska, which gathers recruits to help him dig a tunnel into Wayne Manor and recreate the Wayne murders. She also assists him in preventing the reunification of Gotham with the mainland by releasing toxic chemicals into the air. After Jeremiah is rendered brain dead and imprisoned in Arkham, Ecco continues to work as his nurse. 10 years later, she and Jeremiah escape from Arkham and attack Barbara Kean. Ecco is ultimately stabbed by Barbara and shot dead by Jeremiah due to the severity of her wound. Throughout the series, Ecco is portrayed as a loyal and dedicated follower of Jeremiah, willing to do whatever it takes to help him achieve his goals.
To eat people. But he's promised to stop.
Stirk. Stirk is a character in the Gotham TV series and is depicted as a monstrous and cannibalistic inmate at Arkham Asylum. He's known for his savage and unpredictable behavior and is feared by both staff and fellow inmates alike. When Edward Nygma attempts to escape from Arkham, he's locked up with Stirk as punishment. Stirk attempts to attack Edward Nygma but is restrained by a chain. Edward Nygma screams in terror and begs for help, eventually convincing Ethel Peabody to let him out. Edward Nygma's knowledge of the underground facility Indian Hill and Jim Gordon's investigation into it convinces Peabody to let him out and assist Hugo Strange in dealing with their enemies.
Now the audience is hushed, expectant.
Amygdala. Aaron Helsinger, who's also known as Amygdala, is a minor antagonist in the Gotham TV series and is a member of the Maniacs. He's a reimagined version of the DC Comics villain, Amygdala. Aaron Helsinger is portrayed as a highly volatile and unpredictable individual, prone to violent outbursts and a lack of control over his emotions. He's recruited to join the Maniacs, a group of criminals intent on causing chaos and destruction throughout Gotham City. Helsinger's violent tendencies and lack of control make him a dangerous member of the Maniacs, and he's responsible for several brutal attacks on innocent civilians.
I thought you wanted to hire me. You didn't say nothing about a job interview.
Matches Malone. Patrick Matches Malone is a character in the Gotham TV series and is depicted as the murderer of Thomas and Martha Wayne, the parents of Bruce Wayne. He's portrayed in disguise by Danny Shock and undisguised by Michael Bowen, who also portrayed Jack Welker in Breaking Bad and Buck in Kill Bill. Matches Malone is a career criminal with a reputation for being ruthless and violent. He's hired by Hugo Strange to kill the Waynes because Thomas Wayne found out about his illegal operation called Indian Hill. Malone carries out the hit, shooting both Thomas and Martha Wayne in front of their young son, Bruce. Matches Malone wasn't caught until later in the series when he committed suicide after a confrontation with Bruce Wayne. Guilty. Dwight Pollard. Dwight Pollard is portrayed as a fanatic follower of Jerome Valeska, a notorious criminal in Gotham City. After Jerome's death, Dwight becomes obsessed with bringing him back to life and begins to devise a plan to do so. In the episode Smile Like You Mean It, Dwight kidnaps several people and uses them as part of his resurrection ritual. He ultimately succeeds in reviving Jerome, who returns to wreak havoc on Gotham City once again. Throughout the season, Dwight serves as a supporting antagonist, working alongside other villains to further their plans. However, his obsession with Jerome and his resurrection ultimately leads to his downfall. Richard Gladwell. Richard Gladwell is a hitman who assumes the identity of a citizen after killing him. He takes on a day job in human resources at Arkham Asylum, the infamous psychiatric hospital in Gotham City. In the episode Arkham, Gladwell is hired by Carmine Falcone to kill his enemies. Sal Maroni also hires Richard Gladwell to assassinate Mayor Aubrey James, but his plans to kill the mayor were thwarted by James Gordon and the Gotham City Police Department. Gladwell is portrayed as a cunning and dangerous villain with a talent for blending into his surroundings and assuming different identities. He's a skilled marksman and is not hesitant to use violence to achieve his goals.
Blood is on the court's hands, on your hands.
The Sensei, a major antagonist in the Gotham series. The Temple Shaman, also known as the Sensei, is the leader of the Court of Owls, a secret society that seeks to control Gotham City from behind the scenes. The Sensei believes that the city has lost its way, and along with the Court of Owls, he plans to destroy it in order to rebuild it according to their vision. In Season 2 of the series, the Sensei is only mentioned briefly and isn't seen on screen. However, he becomes a major antagonist in Season 3, where he's revealed to be one of the three main villains alongside Jervis Tetch and Edward Nygma. When Bruce Wayne begins to investigate the Court of Owls, he's kidnapped and brought to the Sensei's mysterious temple, which was hidden deep in the mountains. At the temple, the Sensei begins to train Bruce to become the protector of the new Gotham. However, it's later revealed that the Sensei's true intentions were to brainwash Bruce and turn him into a puppet of the court. The character of the Temple Shaman is portrayed as a mysterious and powerful figure with a deep knowledge of ancient martial arts and mystical practices. A calculating villain who shows no mercy, the Sensei is a villain that troubles the show's protagonist endlessly. The Lady. The Lady is a mysterious and powerful figure who's involved in criminal activities in Gotham City. She's responsible for brokering the deal between Matches Malone and Hugo Strange, which leads to the murder of Thomas and Martha Wayne. In the Gotham series, Matches Malone is a hitman who's hired by the Lady to kill a high-profile target. The owner of illegal casinos, the Lady, acts as a broker for hitmen and their clients. The character of the Lady is portrayed as a shadowy and enigmatic figure with connections to the criminal underworld and a deep knowledge of Gotham's inner workings. She's a ruthless and calculating villain who acts as a bridge between the criminals. The Balloon Man. Davis Lamond is a villain in Season 1 of Gotham, appearing in the episode The Balloon Man as the main antagonist. He's a vigilante who takes the law into his own hands by targeting corrupt individuals and killing them by attaching them with weather balloons and letting them float away. Lamond's actions earn him the nickname The Balloon Man from the media, and his actions cause chaos in Gotham City as people start to question the effectiveness of the police department. Detective James Gordon and his partner Harvey Bullock are tasked with tracking down Lamond and bringing him to justice. They eventually catch him and put an end to his murders. The character of Davis Lamond is portrayed as a misguided vigilante who believes that he's doing the right thing by by punishing corrupt individuals. However, his methods are extreme and cause more harm than good, and this is what eventually led him to his downfall.
Are you ready to go on a big adventure? Sit down, young
Patti and Doug. They are the villainous henchmen of Dr. Francis Dollmaker, also known as the Dollmaker, who were put in charge of arranging bodies for the immoral doctor. Their criminal activities included kidnapping and transporting human beings to the hospital owned by Dr. Francis Dollmaker, which was situated on a private island. Patti and Doug are portrayed as ruthless and heartless individuals who have no qualms about exploiting innocent children for their own gain. They're shown to be very skilled at tracking down and capturing their targets, using a combination of cunning and brute force to get the job done. Their actions eventually come to the attention of Detective James Gordon, who's determined to put an end to their criminal activities. With the help of his partner Harvey Bullock, Gordon begins to investigate the case and discovers a web of corruption and deceit that runs deep within Gotham's criminal underworld. The villainous duo are eventually arrested by the Gotham City Police Department and are never seen again. Marvelous verdict. Some of the most compelling and captivating characters in the series are the criminals from the television program Gotham. Even though they frequently act evil and without morals, their motivations often stem from a profound sense of loss or despair, which makes them more human as well as more sympathetic to the viewers. Each villain, from the Joker to the Penguin, adds a unique point of view to the narrative of the show, enhancing its appeal. In the end, Gotham's villains give the show a layer of complexity and intrigue that makes it a must-watch for fans of the world of the Caped Crusader, also known as Batman. Well guys, with that, we'd like to wrap up everything we know about Batman's enemies in the Gotham series. So, if you liked our content, don't forget to drop a like and hit that subscribe button on your way out. Have a good one.